its staff, management, or parent company, Clear Channel Communications Incorporated.
This is the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Now, live in studio, your host, local real estate expert, Jamie Meloni.
Hi there, everybody. Welcome to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Hoping everybody had a great weekend and is ready for a productive week as I am. And again, you'll find my show on every Mondays at noon, so I invite you to please tune in as my show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. Got a great show planned for today. In studio, got my co-host, Christina Griffin, realtor with Coldwell Banker. Christina, how are you doing today?
I'm awesome, Jamie. Thanks for having me.
How was the weekend?
Oh, it was great. Fun-filled family weekend.
Interesting. I know you're very much the family person, and I really don't know how you balance your family life with the business that you and I are both in. She is a fellow real estate agent on my foreclosure sales team, the Tampa Bay REO Group, and you can find all of our listings at tampabayreo.com, or just remember tampabayradio.com for short. On today's show, I've got an amazing guest, Dr. Michael Krein. He is the CEO of RIO Software Solutions and also the president of the National REO Brokers Association. He has a plethora of information on the housing market and anything involved in the default industry. He has spent over 29 years in the real estate business, focusing primarily on the default industry, and this experience has led to his current position as the CEO of RIO Software Solutions, provider of the RIO Genesis software and real estate tools, the only complete and comprehensive software system designed for both the general and default real estate companies in the marketplace. He is also president of the NRBA, the National REO Brokers Association, an organization he founded back in 1998. He has personally listed and or sold over 25,000 homes and currently resides outside of Las Vegas, Nevada, in Henderson, Nevada. Today, Michael is here with us to discuss this ever-changing real estate business and what you need to know to succeed in this marketplace. Michael, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me, Jamie. It's been a while since we've spoken. What can I do for you today?
Hey, always looking for you for information. Michael, you're one of the few people in this REO business that I actually still learn from, and as a member of the National REO Brokers Association, so it's an honor to have you on my show today. Thank you very much for coming on.
Anytime.
Michael, you're obviously an industry leader in the default and REO business, and you've successfully built up and sold, many of your real estate businesses. Tell the audience a little bit more about your background in real estate.
I've pretty much done everything there is to do and everything I ever wanted to do. I've owned independent offices. I've owned C21s, Better Homes and Gardens. I've owned independents. I own cell states in some regions. Pretty much done everything that I wanted to do.
Yeah, and I mean, you've obviously, blossomed, your, real estate business that you, got into and back in the 80s into so many, different, tangents here. I mean, you're the president of the National REO Brokers Association as well as the founder. Tell us a little bit more about the, the NRBA and how that came to be.
The NRBA is more of a passion than a business, I guess. We started it out in the late 90s. A lot of us were REO brokers. And REO is unique because it's really one of the few renewable income streams in the industry, so I tended to gravitate towards it. And you can run very high volume very easily as long as you have a system. But in the 90s, we started talking with other REO brokers. We all had the same problems. There were no tools for us. And so we started loosely just sharing information, sharing clients, sharing tools. And I'd even started writing some software at that time to run things at volume. Because that's everybody's biggest headache is your labor cost and just you have too many things to do in the day. So anything you can automate works great. And it just kind of evolved from there. We never really expected it to grow into what it became. And then we went into training and providing different tools. And we just really raised the bar of what an REO broker should be and what an REO broker could do. And at the same time, we taught our members, hey, this is the renewable income stream. You can run substantial volume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the advantages of, being in real estate in the REO field. And for those of us, the audience out there listening, when we say REO, we're talking about real estate owned properties. These are another name for foreclosures, commonly used amongst brokers in the business that specialize in this area. But, Mike, you're right. When I started in 2007, even, there were just not a lot of tools out there, but yet there was so much expected from, REO brokers in managing these properties. And, the tools that you have built built, now you're onto the RIO Genesis system that you've developed, has given, not only REO brokers, but general real estate agents as well, a great place to, manage all their properties. Tell us a little bit more about the RIO Genesis system.
Well, let me just switch gears a little bit and finish the NRBA, and I'll tell you how it leads into RIO Genesis. REO brokers tend to have tunnel vision. So one of the things we did at the NRBA is we've taught most of our members how to run full retail offices. Because there's plenty of training for agents, any type of agent. There's very little good training on how to be a broker because it's a totally different skill set. And one of the benefits of REO and having a large REO inventory is the lead generation. And our goal was to teach the members, for every dollar you're making REO, there's another $5 on the retail side if you leverage the lead gen. And that kind of evolved into RIO Genesis and where we went.
Are you there still, Mike? It sounded like the phone may have dropped off.
I'm sorry, I'm on a cell. I'm running around today.
Okay, just making sure. It sounded like it cut off there for a
off.
moment. But go ahead, and you're talking about lead generation and the importance of that in the business, as well as any sales business for that matter.
Absolutely. But the point is, the REO brokers, for every dollar they were making REO, they were leaving $5 on the table by not leveraging out the retail. So we started building systems not only for lead generation, but lead management. And then you have to take the next step, which is lead incubation. That's what most people are weak on and they don't really understand. But you can drive a tremendous amount of volume. And we've kind of taught the NRBA members that over the years, and we gave them RIO Genesis, the software that we built. And it's a little over half our members actually own full retail offices now. When we started, it was less than 5%. So I probably spend more of my time teaching them how to open and run real estate offices than I do teaching them REO at this time.
Absolutely. Now, the RIO Genesis system, you've marketing this also to, other real estate brokerages. This is not just a tool for, default brokers, correct?
No, in about 2 weeks, I'm really excited. It's one of the reasons we've been so busy. We're launching a full office version. Mm-hmm. And I kind of have to segue onto another topic to kind of explain what happened.
Sure.
Before I sold off my real estate offices a couple of years ago, at one point I had 7 offices and about 400 agents. What was really amazing about my operation that I'm really proud of is my average per agent production was about 14.7, about 4 times the industry norm. Mm-hmm. Really good at it. But during that time, I was running like 6 or 7 different pieces of software. We had lead generation, lead management, we had an accounting system, we had a paperless transaction system. But none of them would talk to each other. All the software that was out in the marketplace was written by a bunch of computer people who said, hey, let's go tell the real estate industry this is what they need. Mm-hmm. Nobody actually built it from a broker's perspective, what works, what doesn't, and put it all in one place. So the long-term goal was to build a turnkey real estate system to run an entire brokerage office. Not just lead generation, lead management, but a full paperless system, a workflow system, a communication system for the agents, commission tracking. And then we added on a marketing module. And then we added on a recruiting module because the broker's biggest problem is always recruiting. So we automated the entire process for them. And if you know what to do, it's not that hard. I mean, hell, I've recruited 100 agents in 6 months. Mm-hmm. You just have to set the program up correctly. So what I wanted was a turnkey real estate solution for every aspect of an office, all in one place, all that was easy to use, and where everything worked the same way. And that's really where it started from, and it just kind of took off. Mm-hmm. We do have a lot of institutional clients. I've got major buy and hold hedge funds and the REO to rental hedge funds that use our system to identify and analyze properties and make the offers. So a lot of our RIO users are getting some really nice cash deals. Mm-hmm. And along the way with the NRBA members that were using it to manage default and REO, a lot of the clients started seeing what our brokers were doing, and then they started coming to us. So now I've got outsourcers and asset management companies on the system as well, and they actually assign listings to the RIO Genesis users. So it was just win-win. And what we've become, and again, never would have expected or at the size we're going, is we've kind of become like Switzerland. We're kind of like the place where everybody comes together to do business.
Right.
And we have workflow and modules for just about everybody in the industry now. But my long-term goal was to get out into the retail real estate brokerages and really supply all the tools that you only could get if you joined a franchise. They were the only ones out there that really had good systems and tools.
Right.
And a lot of people don't want to be a franchise. I've done both. There's pros and cons to both. But it's a turnkey solution for the broker. And we tried to take all the things that agents didn't like doing, like prospecting. agents hate to prospect. They know they're supposed to, but they don't do it. So I decided to go out there and do it for them. It's set it and forget it.
Right.
Michael,
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Mike. Go ahead and finish your point there you're making.
Oh, no, I go on forever. You've heard me speak.
Yeah, I got to take a quick sponsor break. Michael, hang on the line here. When we come back from the break, we're going to be talking more about, Michael's involvement with the RIO Genesis system as well as the National RIO Brokers Association. But we're going to get into, the statistics of what's going on out there in the marketplace. Michael's got a lot of great information on what's going on with the banking industry with regard to the housing market. And again, you want to stay tuned as he's got a lot of great information. If you're just tuning in, you've been listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Back in a moment.
You to experience the thrill of one-day underwriting and the comfort in knowing your loans will be clear to close in record time. While the competition looks to a lost closing date, Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage focus on their 12-day clear to close. They do this by utilizing their world-class operations staff to underwrite your loan within 6 hours, process your loan in 12 days, and have your loan closed in time. Underwritten in 6 hours, cleared to close in 12 days. Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage. Since opening its doors 120 years ago, Stewart Title Company has established a lasting legacy of providing professional title services. Even other title insurance companies know Stewart Title Company because they do their actual underwriting for them. Stewart is here to provide a wide range of resources to help improve any real estate transaction. To learn more about protecting yourself against hidden title hazards that may threaten your financial investment, call Melissa Stoddard at 813-431-8025. That's 813-431-8025.
Thinking about buying a home? Find out how the HUD Home Store can help you. Visit HUDHomestore.com. Look at HUD homes available for sale near you or nationwide. Why HUD Home Store? HUD will pay up to 3% of the buyer's closing cost. The price of the home is based on an FHA as-is appraisal, which is already completed, saving you an average of $400. And there is an owner-occupant priority bidding period during the first 30 days. Want to know more? Visit HUDHomestore.com.
At Fifth Third Bank, a wide variety of choices is available so you can find the mortgage loan that meets your financial needs. Factor in competitive rates, flexible terms and conditions, and fast closings. And these are some of the best solutions around. Whether you just ended a residency or are a longtime physician, the right fit for you can be found at Fifth Third Bank. For no obligation, free credit analysis, call Robert Paradis today at 813-300-7218. 813-300-7218. You're listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show with local expert Jamie Meloni. Now, here's Jamie.
Hi again, everybody, and thanks for staying tuned in to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. And again, you'll find my show on every Mondays at noon, so I invite you to please tune in as my show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. Off air, you can find me at my website, tampabayradio.com. And also to all of my listeners out there, I offer them a free home valuation if they would just text the word value to my cell phone, 813-760-8516. Again, text value to 813-760-8516 for a free home valuation. On the show today, we've got co-host Christina Griffin in studio today. Christina, you still with us over there?
I'm here, Jamie. Hi.
And also on call in from out of Las Vegas, Dr. Michael Krein, CEO of RIO Software Solutions, also the president of the National RIO Brokers Foundation. So, Michael, I want to shift gears now and talk a little bit more about the, this ever-changing real estate business. I know you, like myself, love to look at the numbers and derive both meaning and prediction from them. Tell me a little bit, what are you seeing on the national level in terms of activity in the real estate market? Are we improving? And what would you say to all the potential market participants playing the waiting game out there on the sidelines?
Stop waiting and get in the game already. We're probably on track for the second best year we've ever had in real estate.
Yeah, let's talk more about that. What's going on out there versus what we've heard over the last few years?
Well, my background is stats, and I love my numbers. But all the surveys and studies out there, sometimes the answer you get depends on the way you phrase the question, so you really have to dig through it. But I'll run down a couple of quick things. 2013 was not a bad year in real estate for retail transactions. There were about 5,090,000 transactions nationally. That's up about 9% from 2012. There were about 4,630,000, I believe. Now, that's still lower than the record year of 2006. 2006, there were 6,480,000 transactions. Now, we have to remember that if you're a real estate agent, every one of those is two sides, a listing and a selling side.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as real estate agents and brokers, we count sides.
Right.
Now, I did 4 deals. Well, it's not 4 total, it's 4 halves.
Mm-hmm.
So the bottom line is you get 10 million sides out there this year. So 2014 still increasing. We had a little hiccup in March, but I think that was more media driven. A lot of buyers, there was a lot of media play about how much harder it was to get a mortgage, so a lot of buyers sat out, but that was more a media function. But there's some really interesting things when you break these numbers down. And I'm going to see if I can pull them up here. So when you look at 2006, which historically was the greatest number of transactions in the history of the United States,
Mm-hmm.
but there were about 2 million new homes built that are factored into that. Now, there are some markets where realtors can sell new homes, but a lot of markets you can't. So when you take that 2 million out, and then you look at the 2014 construction projections, and most numbers around 900,000, I'm thinking it's closer to about 880.
Okay.
But when you take out the new construction and you just go to actual resale transactions that we as brokers list and sell, 2006, the adjusted numbers were 4,480,000. We're on track for 4,320,000. Mm-hmm. It is close. So we're looking at possibly the second greatest year by transaction volume. But there's one other thing in there now. You got to look at what your competition is. You know, at any given time, well, let me rephrase that. There's been a drop in the real estate professional population as far as agents and brokers. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody likes to throw the term realtor around, but there's less than 1 million realtors right now, according to NAR. But not everyone is a realtor. A lot of people don't want to join the boards anymore, so there's a trend happening there. But in 2006, we had 2.6 million real estate licenses. That's agents and brokers. Mm-hmm. You only have about 2.3 million now. So the transaction count is almost as close to 2006, or should be this year, but you've got 300,000 less people, less agents competing for those transactions.
Right.
I think it's probably the greatest time on the planet to open up a real estate office.
Yeah, it's definitely changed. I mean, tell me a little bit more. I mean, how has the role of the real estate professional changed over the last 29 years that you've been in the business? I mean, there's obviously technology plays such a greater deal, but the role of the realtor or real estate professional is morphed.
Well, over the 29 years, you're talking to someone who started out with little tear sheets. We didn't even have listing books or computers.
Right.
You know, we had to have our little tear sheets once a week. Mm-hmm. Well, over the last 30 years, kind of irrelevant. I think what your listeners are going to want to hear is what's going on now. And that is the Internet has changed everything. And if you understand those changes, doing 100 transactions a year is a cakewalk. I mean, it can be done quite easily now, probably easier than ever, well, definitely easier than ever before. So you have to look at the change in buyer behavior. See, our role always started out is we had to find a house for the buyer because we controlled the secret information. We were the only ones who had access to MLS, those little tear sheets or listing books, or even the MLS computers at a time. But now all the listing data is out on the Internet. So our job is not to find the house for the buyer. The buyer finds their own house. They can search all they like, and by the time they're ready to buy, they know more about the neighborhoods and more about what's available on the inventory as most agents do.
Absolutely.
And more in some cases. So this has changed a lot of things. When we started out, we used to have to show buyers 30 or 40 houses over a 3-month period. And there were reasons why. First one is the buyer had to become realistic. You know, they thought they were going to get a mansion for the price of a cup of coffee, and that wasn't going to happen. So a lot of that was educating the buyer in the market, and you had to spend enough time until they became realistic about what their price range was. So that's changed because now that the buyer searches the Internet, they already know what prices are in each neighborhood. They know what they're going to get for their money, so they're realistic. Also, you never really knew what somebody wanted. You know, they tell you what they need. I need 3 bedrooms. But people, especially buyers of real estate, they don't buy what they need. They buy what they want. So that was the trick of being an agent, is figuring out what it is they want. Mm-hmm. Well, they're doing that on their own now. So what's happened, when a buyer is ready to look at homes, the average buyer is now looking at less than 10 homes before they write the offer. They used to look at 30 or 40. But look at the change in the information they have and the decisions they've been able to make before they start looking at houses. So you don't show 30, 40 houses anymore. You show less than 10. Mm-hmm. And that is a phenomenal benefit because that just cut your showing time to 1/4 of what it used to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you talk a lot about getting 100 transactions a year, and I mean I've sat through a lot of your presentations on how to generate income in this business, but yet you see so many realtors and other sales professionals in other fields fail. I mean, where is the breakdown with this prospecting and conversion? Where is the breakdown with this? Do you think?
Stubbornness. A lot of people want to keep, the answer I get a lot of times when I try to work with offices, but we've always done it this way.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a reason to continue that pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's going to change.
Right.
The market has changed. The buyer behavior has changed.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the agents don't really understand. And you know what? I'm not even going to say the agents. I'm going to say the brokers. Because it's the broker's responsibility to teach their agents. When an agent goes to work for a broker, that broker has a trust to help that agent succeed and be there for him. And so I want to say it's the brokers that need to learn first.
Mm-hmm.
But the sales cycle is radically different. The average buyer starts looking at homes on the internet about 8.5 months before they actually make a purchase decision.
Right.
And during that time, they'll contact 15, 16 realtors.
Mm-hmm.
Most or agents. I got to be careful throwing the term around because it's not the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But most of those agents won't call them back and don't respond to their emails and aren't attentive. And even the ones they do are stuck in a paradigm that we were all taught. We were all taught to qualify the buyer.
Correct.
If you're not going to buy today, get out of my car,
Mm-hmm.
type of thing.
Right.
We don't just qualify financially; we qualify for time. A qualifying question would be something like, "That's great. When do you need to be in your new home? Because I'm trying to figure out where you are in the cycle." And if the buyer says, "Oh, I don't need to be in until September," most agents will go click, or they'll go, "Well, call me back when you're ready to buy."
Mm-hmm.
That's the disconnect.
Right. And your system, and you've got to put them on some type of, drip campaign. And that's something that your system, the RIO Genesis system, does as well. You put them in there as a lead, and then you can stay in contact with them throughout the 8 months it takes them to buy a home. And you really just set up set it and forget it type of thing within your system. Am I correct with that?
Yes, you are. It's even more than that. We not only do the marketing and do all the web advertising to bring the buyer lead into the system, we then incubate it. And it's not just we run drip campaigns. The system interacts with the buyer based on what the buyer is doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's really good reasons for that. And one of which is, as a buyer goes from cold to warm to hot, you can actually see the frequency and intensity of their searches increasing. So the system can kind of notify you as that buyer is getting closer to buy, so you know when to follow up with them as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
certain
absolutely.
patterns that you can see there.
Absolutely. Mike, I'm going to take another quick break here. We're at the bottom of the hour, but please hang on the line. Got a lot of great information to go through still here with you. If you just tuning in, you're listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. And again, you'll find this show on every Mondays at noon. So I invite you to please please tune in every Monday as my show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. Off air, you can follow up with my show at my website, tampabayradio.com. And also to all the home buyers and sellers out there in the marketplace, I am a traditional real estate agent as well. You can get me on my phone, 813-760-8516. Again, 813-760-8516. Back in a moment. Please stay tuned.
I will never forget the day my son Jeremy told me he hated me and slammed the door in my face. I'm behavioral therapist Janet Lehman. Behavior problems can turn the child you love and your life into a nightmare. That's why my husband James and I created the Total Transformation, the step-by-step program that shows you how to fix the worst behavior problems and get your child to respect and listen to you again. No matter what the behavior, defiance, backtalk, angry outbursts, disrespect, we can help you stop it. Now you can get the Total Transformation for free. All you need to do is get the program and let us know how it works for you. You can keep it forever for free.
Limited number of free programs available. Call now. 1-800-241-7640. 1-800-241-7640. That's 1-800-241-7640. 1-800-241-7640.
Have you noticed embarrassing spots on your glasses and silverware? Or does your laundry look dull and dingy? And are you tired of lugging bottled water from the grocery store? Then do what I've done. Call 1-888-WATER-99 and talk to the Connecticut people at Superior Water. With Kinetico, there are no more spots on your glasses and silverware. Your laundry is going to be softer and whiter and brighter, and taste the delicious difference in your water. All of this, and it saves a ton of money. I've been a long-time Kinetico customer, and whether you've got nasty city water or rusty, stinky well water, the experts at Superior can fix it with no timers, no adjustments, no sodium. Serving the Bay Area since 1969, they're so confident you'll love Kinetico as much as I do, they're offering a no-obligation trial. Call 1-888-WATER-99, 1-888-WATER-99, or text the word WATER to 77948, 77948.
Need AC? Call Simpson Air, the coolest guys in town. Log on to thecoolestguys.com.
This report brought to you by Advil Congestion Relief. Advil Congestion Relief, the only cold medicine that delivers a 1-2 punch at pain and sinus pressure with the power of Advil, the #1 selling pain reliever and a proven nasal decongestant in a single pill. Use as directed. Find at Walmart.
From the Bright House Network's Traffic Center, authorities still on scene of a serious accident northbound 275 at Hillsborough Avenue. It is blocking 2 lanes, only 1 lane able to squeeze by with delays back to the I-4 interchange. You may want to take Florida or Nebraska Avenue here instead. And slowdowns in Pinellas County with an accident along 66th Street near 56th Avenue North. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson and Uterwick Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line at 866-545-9595.
1250 winds, Weather Center forecast. Highs in the mid-upper 80s this afternoon. Reached 80 by 10:30 this morning already. And up to 88 right now in Brandon, Tampa, 83, 86 in Clearwater. And to the south, Bradenton and Sarasota at 84 degrees. Slight chance of a shower, 10% today. Lows in the lower 70s. See closer to mid-80s for the next couple of days, then low 80s by the end of the week as a front comes in. We'll see a higher rain chance, about 30-40% Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Wall Street, Dow is up 65, NASDAQ down 24, S&P Index up a point, Dow to 16,426.
You're listening to the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show with local expert Jamie Maloney. Now, here's Jamie.
Thanks for staying tuned in to the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show here on 1250 Winds, WHNZ. Again, you'll find my show on every Mondays at noon, so I invite you to please tune in as my show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. We've been talking today with Dr. Michael Krein. He is the president of the National RIO Brokers Association, as well as the CEO of RIO Software Solutions, a system that realtors can use for many tools, from property management to lead generation and lead management. And we've been talking, a lot about that on this show. So I want to go ahead and continue the conversation here with Mike. I'm looking over, some of the material that you sent me in preparation for the, interview. And we're talking about, the average realtor, and how much time they actually put in, to a transaction, and where, they're losing so much time and money. How hard do agents really work?
Well, the problem is they work too hard. Okay, I know agents doing over 100 deals a year that they're out of the office by noon and on the golf course. Mm-hmm. It's not about working hard. It's about working smart, and it's about using your time effectively. I mean, I'm a big fan of Tom Hopkins. I think it was one of the original people at his boot camps, in the early 80s. And, he always had one of his rules was I have to be doing the most practical thing or the most profitable thing possible at a given moment. So, old adage, 80% of your time should be spent prospecting. Get rid of that. That's what we did. Because agents don't like doing it, and it's very time-consuming. So we built that into the system for them. But then the transaction time. Most agents do put 20 or 30 hours into a transaction trying to get it closed. Mm-hmm. We don't get paid for selling houses. We get paid for getting them closed.
Right.
So using an electronic management system and a good paperless system, you can cut that time down to about 8-9 hours. So when you look at the change using technology correctly, understanding the new buyer behavior, it's very easy to do a transaction every 20 hours because you're automating your marketing, and we'll go back to that because I know you asked about the difference between marketing and advertising and what's changed there. But if you've got a constant stream of leads being delivered to you, and these buyers have already learned the market themselves, you're only going to invest about 8-10 hours showing each buyer. That's your 10 houses right there, even with travel time. And then if you can get your transaction time down to 8 or 9 hours by using the right systems and having it organized correctly and automating a lot of the processes, and especially the paperwork. Paperwork's what kills us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know why anybody's still moving paper files anymore. That's just a waste of time. But yeah, you've literally got 20 hours per transaction. 40-hour week, that's 2 deals a week.
Yeah, I
There's
see.
your 100 transactions right there.
You know, one of the challenges that I've been doing this 7 years, and I've seen many, agents come and go out of, my office, is they just don't know how to get started. They don't have that infrastructure. And, the RIO Genesis system is an excellent, starting point for many agents, to begin managing their database.
It's really funny you say that, because one of the things that I had to go out and do, if you go to the RIO Genesis homepage, you're going to see a section that says RIO Talks, and when you click that, under that, you're going to find a section called Broker School.
Mm-hmm.
What we found with the RIO Genesis system is we built these people a supersonic fighter jet, and none of them know how to fly.
Right.
And how to pilot it. So, and I'm just talking industry basics where these changes are, like some of the ones we're talking about here. So there is an entire video collection of lessons called Broker School. Totally unbiased, a little politically incorrect, but very, very accurate as to how the business works, how a brokerage should be run, the different things you should be doing, and how to do them. So we took care of that also. I mean, we're trying to get into the point where we're providing all the tools, training, and information you get from a franchise without having to buy a franchise. That's kind of what we've evolved into.
Mm-hmm.
So any of you listeners out there want to learn more about the business and how it actually functions, it's all there and it's all free. And they're done just like little one-on-one coaching sessions. You just play the videos at your leisure. But you're right.
Mike,
we did find we needed to do that. Yes, Christine.
A lot of agents in our area, they're having an issue with the auctions. In your opinion, do you have any hints that would help them work better with the bank-owned foreclosure auctions? Do you think this is a short or long-term trend in our market?
I've been around long enough where I've seen the auction cycle come and go about 5 times. It's kind of flavor of the month, lasts about 2 or 3 years, then disappears again. So it'll be here for a little while yet. See, I really liked the auctions, to tell you the truth, because it was a great way to make money. Whenever the auction companies were in town and they had 50 or 60 properties, they never had enough people to cover the open houses. So I'd call them up and say, how many you need covered? I got 50 agents here ready to go.
I did the same thing in the beginning. Absolutely. It was a great way to get clients. Well, the problem we're having now is a lot of the auctions do not offer a selling agent commission in our area because they're selling them occupied, or they just aren't wanting to cooperate.
Well, that's part of a bigger problem with the inventory being tight. But if they're not going to pay a buyer's brokerage fee to the agent, then it's something that you don't need to be doing. It's not profitable to you.
Absolutely.
Everybody has to pick and choose which segment of the business they're going to be in, and pick and choose which one's actually going to make them some money.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So it depends. I like the auctions because I used to put all my agents into the open houses, and I wasn't concerned about selling that house or getting the bid at the auction. But we used to send them out in pairs along with a laptop, and they'd be off showing every other house in the neighborhood.
Do you have any hints for agents to convert those leads into real leads to get them away from the auction inventory?
Well, I do. What typically happens with most buyers is they don't get the property at the auction if they're bidding against 20 other people, plus they have to pay the buyer's premium. So if they've been through the process before, they know how it works, and they're more than open. These buyers just want a house, whether it's an owner-occupant or whether it's an investor. They just want to buy a property. They don't care if it's an auction or an MLS listing or a FSBO or a pocket listing. They just want a house. They want to buy a property.
Absolutely.
So be more than happy to work with them at the auction. Hey, when you don't get this, I got 5 more. Or while you're waiting for the auction date, let's go see what else is better out there. You just got to keep working with them. You know, the buyers aren't in love with the auction either. Nobody is.
Absolutely.
In some markets, it's a very effective tool, and they do very well with it. Others, they don't.
Now, you're out in Las Vegas. Are you seeing a lot of the bank inventory go to auction out there, is what we're seeing over here in the Tampa Bay region?
No, not in a couple of years, because we have virtually no REO. Because of the laws that were passed here in Nevada, there's almost no REO inventory. It's almost impossible to foreclose.
I remember you bringing that up a couple years ago. Explain a little bit about how the foreclosure law works out there. Oh,
it pretty much destroyed the REO market here. without going into a lot of crazy details, there's about 200 REOs a month being generated here in Clark County, and we have a population of about 2.2 million, to give you how small it is. But there's about 520,000 housing units. Out of those, 80,000 of them are not paying their mortgage.
Right.
But you can't foreclose on them. Because the way the laws were put in, it's just damn near impossible. So there's almost no REO inventory in Nevada right now. It's very, very rare.
So what's the procedure? I mean, obviously they're not paying. They can't stay there. The bank just call them every week, and hopefully if they start paying. I mean, what's the plan of attack to get them paying or out of the homes?
They're fighting the legislation. It's been modified a little bit, but it didn't just kill the REO market. It killed the short sale market. Why should I, if I was a homeowner and I'm not paying my mortgage, why should I do a short sale when I can probably stay here for another 5 years without paying my mortgage and live rent-free?
So, I mean, that's still going on out there. I remember you mentioning that, a couple of years ago. And I think that was probably, one of your catalysts, to kind of, change your gears in real estate. I mean, I'd obviously had to, that revolutionized, the business. So you had to start thinking along different lines. Am I correct?
Oh, absolutely. But I built my retail operations up at that point. The biggest mistake I ever made in my career was not building my retail operations sooner. I mean, 2002 and 2003, I also had one of the largest HUD contracts. My own production was about 3,600 units a year. Just on the inventory I was controlling. Should have built my retail ops then. I started building them in 2004, and thank goodness that I did, because we were the fastest market to rise during the boom. I went from a few thousand REOs to 2005, I had 12. In 2006, I had none. But we were the fastest rising market. But just my one office, was doing about 150 transactions a month with the agents at an average sales price of $400,000 during the boom.
Right.
So what tends to happen when one's down, the other's up. So it's really important when you build a brokerage to make sure you diversify into multiple profit centers, because they'll offset each other. And if you do it right, each one actually feeds the other, and it's a really nice synergy.
What was your drop in values out there in Las Vegas from the peak to the low, and how are they recovering right now?
Well, we literally dropped back from 2008. Actually, the peak was July 2007 for us. We literally dropped back down to like 1992 prices.
Wow.
I mean, you had 60 and 70% drops when the market collapsed, but it was so overinflated. We're back. I'd say we're probably back to about 80% of where we were, especially in the low-end stuff. And the high-end market is starting to do really, really well here, the $1 million plus, because we have people coming over from California that are buying that up. But my concern for our market is the supply and demand is artificially altered right now because of the legislative issue. I still know there's 20% of the housing stock out there that's in default. They just can't get it to the market.
So do you foresee legislative changes coming in your area to speed up the foreclosure or get the foreclosures back on track, I should say?
Under this current administration and the way the Nevada government's running right now, probably not. Something's going to happen eventually. It's going to have to. You can only kick the can down the road so many times. When that's going to happen, I don't know. Depending how it happens, could lead to a secondary crash here.
Very, very, very interesting. Mike, stay on the line here. We got one more segment to do here. I got to take another break to hear from our sponsors. If you're just tuning in, you've been listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. And again, you'll find this show on every Mondays at noon. So I invite you to please tune in as my show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. Back in a moment.
Buying a home? Find out how the HUD Home Store can help you. Visit HUDHomestore.com. Look at HUD homes available for sale near you or nationwide. Why HUD Home Store? HUD will pay up to 3% of the buyer's closing cost. The price of the home is based on an FHA as-is appraisal, which is already completed, saving you an average of $400. And there is an owner-occupant priority bidding period during the first 30 days. Want to know more? Visit HUDHomestore.com.
Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage want you to experience the thrill of one-day underwriting and the comfort in knowing your loans will be clear to close in record time. While the competition looks to a lost closing date, Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage focus on their 12-day clear to close. They do this by utilizing their world-class operations staff to underwrite your loan within 6 hours, process your loan in 12 days, and have your loan closed in time. Underwritten in 6 hours, cleared to close in 12 days. Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage. At Fifth Third Bank, a wide variety of choices is available so you can find the mortgage loan that meets your financial needs. Factor in competitive rates, flexible terms and conditions, and fast closings. And these are some of the best solutions around. Whether you just ended a residency or are a longtime physician, the right fit for you can be found at Fifth Third Bank. For no obligation, free credit analysis, call Robert Paradis today at 813-300-7218. 813-300-7218. Since opening its doors 120 years ago, Stewart Title Company has established a lasting legacy of providing professional title services. Even other title insurance companies know Stewart Title Company because they do their actual underwriting for them. Stewart is here to provide a wide range of resources to help improve any real estate transaction. To learn more about protecting yourself against hidden title hazards that may threaten your financial investment, call Melissa Stoddard at 813-431-8025. That's 813-431-8025. You're listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show with local expert Jamie Meloni. Now, here's Jamie.
Hi again, everybody, and thanks for staying tuned in to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Been talking with Dr. Michael Krein for the show. Been a great show, a lot of great information, a lot of great statistical information, and I want to go ahead and continue the discussion that we were having, as related to the RIO Genesis system and how it benefits agents, and also other sales professionals can derive tips from the same information, even if they're not in the the real estate sales business. But, Michael, you have the art of lead generation and conversion, boiled down to a science, in my opinion. I've sat through, many of your lectures on this topic. And, I know you can talk for hours, just on this, very topic. But tell me a little bit, how has prospecting, changed into marketing as a sales professional?
Prospecting is you need to find somebody who wants you to find them a house. That's really what it was. You had to find somebody who wanted to buy a house and then tell them that you were able to find it for them, because that's really what the buyer cared about. Mm-hmm. Now it's about marketing yourself. They can see the houses for sale. They don't need you for that. Okay? They're going to make up their own mind about what they want, where they want to be. All the information is there for them. Your job as an agent or broker right now is to convince them that you're the one to help them get it. So it's about marketing yourself, your skills, your experience, and most importantly, providing the information that they want to see. If you're the one who gives them all the information, I'm a big fan of IDX feeds. I think that's great. Right. Get your buyer hooked in there so the buyer can look at all the houses for you. Mm-hmm. Saves you the trouble. So, I used to hate watching my agents play on the MLS computers. What are you doing? Oh, I'm researching the market. Mm-hmm. Oh, what a time waster. The buyer's going to find their own house. You have to convince the buyer that you are the best one to help them get the home that they've already decided on.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So it's about marketing yourself and your skill set. I'm going to make your transaction easier. I'm going to keep you out of trouble. I'm going to help you find a better rate on your mortgage. I'm going to explain how title insurance works. I'm going to help you find this. I'm going to manage this all for you, and I'm going to keep you out of trouble and make your life easier. Yeah, that's what a buyer wants to hear.
You mentioned IDX feeds. That means Internet Data Exchange, and that's what the MLS is feeding to all the different websites out there. That information is being sourced from the MLS, and it's going out there to a number of different sites. My own website that I promote here on the air, TampaBayRadio.com. I have an IDX feed set up, and it's great. I can see all the leads coming into my site, what they're looking at, and it's a great tool. And that more agents need to take advantage of.
They do, but 90% of agents' websites generate no business.
Right.
Because there's no reason for the buyer to actually call the agent. They'll give them the MLS feeds. They may even say, hey, they'll put a really pretty picture of themselves on there. But the buyer doesn't care what the agent looks like. They don't care what you and I look like. Mm-hmm. They don't even care about us per se. Mm-hmm. They just want someone who's going to help them get what they want.
Do you have any advice for agents that do not generate business to their website, maybe a few tweaks that they may be able to do to improve traffic?
To an individual website, yes and no. I can tell you this. I'm in a unique position that I travel over the country, and I've trained some of the top brokers and agents. I'll give you a great example. If you look at the top producing short sale agents, and I'm talking the ones that are doing 15 and 20 deals a month, they have two main sources of business. One is referral. So we don't leverage our past client base. That's where drip campaigns and just a phone call once in a while comes in. But one of the things that, and they all have different ways of doing this, but there was something else that all these top short sale agents had in common. They all had a real estate blog, and they'd post to it 4 or 5 times a day. blogging is phenomenal because it's very specific, very local, and the more you post, it tends to show up very high in the search engines. So you could literally spend 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon, posting a couple things to your blog. And it could be, hey, it's a short sale for this client. I got them, they were in debt for $500,000. We sold the house for $300,000, and I got them $30,000 in relocation assistance. That's the type of stuff that buyers respond to. Hey, this person knows what they're doing. Look what they did for them. Mm-hmm. And a blog is a phenomenal way for a local real estate agent in a local market to generate business.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point.
It's really a 10, 15-minute thing a day.
Do you recommend
Sorry?
for an agent who is getting started blogging just a simple WordPress site, or to incorporate it more through their social media networks?
Both.
Okay.
You can do. There's actually auto blogging software out there, and we actually built that into RIO Genesis. It actually automates your Facebook posts, a lot of your social media for you. Because again, we know agents get busy, they get caught with the buyer, they can manage the deals by crisis. So we actually automated a lot of that in there as well.
It's a very, very impressive, site that, and I work with it through a number of different clients just because, I'm a listing agent for banks and stuff. But there's so many other tools that, I'm just learning about, through your system and everything. And it's a great, piece of, software that your company has built.
It's not a piece of software. It's a complete business system. It was all the things that I hated doing, that my agents hated doing, and we automated them. Mm-hmm. And the other advantage we really had is most of the systems out there, you'd have to buy 5 or 6 different products to compete with us. But most of the stuff out there was written 10 and 15 years ago. It's old code. Mm-hmm. There's so many new things you can do, and that old code is expensive to support. I mean, this shocks a lot of people, but if you own a real estate office, we can get you the entire system, everything we've talked about and more, for about $10 a month per agent, because it's so much more cost-effective nowadays. I mean, that's literally all it costs to use something like this.
Yeah, and then the challenge so many agents have is finding that a system to manage everything in, and I see so many agents that do not have any type of system, and this is just a great product to manage listings and buyer traffic, and as well as you mentioned posting to social media sites and stuff. Tell me some of the other features that we may not have talked about today.
It's got a wonderful document management system, and it's got workflow. It keeps track of every step of the transaction, and it tells everybody what should be done next. I mean, you don't ask your title company to send you over escrow instructions. They log in and drop them in the system for you, and they do that automatically. So you bring all your partners in. And my biggest headache was always the contracts that got faxed over in 8 or 9 pieces, and now they're emailed in 8 or 9 pieces. Right. So we have a whole PDF management system in there. We can merge the documents together, split them back apart, and it's just 3 clicks. It just makes life so much simpler because we spend more time shuffling paper than we should. Mm-hmm. So it also has all the accounting for the broker, for your vendors, all in one place. Right. And we built the system from inside the industry. Well, you know me, but one thing I'm good at is systems. I mean, I was doing almost 3,600 transactions a year with a staff of 14. Mm-hmm. That's phenomenal. That was before I had this. Mm-hmm. So it's just turnkey. But we tried to cover every single aspect that there was either a choke point, time-consuming, or an opportunity for human error. Because sometimes the system makes decisions. If you do that, it tells me I have to do this.
Mm-hmm. Now, you say it manages financial functions, too. Is that tied to just QuickBooks still, or how is that working right now?
No, it's internal. We have a couple different things with financial, one of which is tracking your agent production. And each agent has their own dashboard, so they only see their own things. But a manager can see all their agents. But you get to see all your transactions, what your projected cash flow is, how much you have on the books. A broker can see their GCI and their CCI, and they can identify patterns. I mean, retention from a broker's perspective, that's a phenomenal retention tool. Because when you see an agent production start to go down, that agent's usually getting ready to leave, or they're having some problems. You need to be able to step in. Unfortunately, you don't usually see it until it's too late, but now you see everything in real time as it's occurring. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a very impressive. I mean, what's the time you've been developing this for several years? I mean, how long is this? How much effort and time have you put into this system now?
About 4 years and about $6 million.
Wow, it's definitely an impressive system.
Mike, for agents that are single agents who want to get started with your system, what is the monthly fee for agents? Because I know everyone, it's all number driven.
Oh, it's for an agent, which is a RIO Pro account, which includes all the paperless, transaction management, and they can actually have up to 10 assistants on it. So, because we have a lot of people who run teams, and a team is a great way to go if you don't want to own a full office. It's only $99 a month to get started.
Okay.
Wonderful. Sounds great and affordable.
Very good, very good. And Mike, wrapping up here the show, any, parting recommendations or anything for all the sales professionals out there, looking to get into, the real estate business, what else would you recommend to, agents out there that you just don't see agents doing?
If I had to give one piece of advice, that's be willing to change.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely.
Understand, be informed, read as much as possible, learn as much as possible, try new things. The majority of non-producing, low-producing agents, they're really stuck in their ways, and they don't want to change. But the agents that are willing to change, they're doing phenomenally well, and they're going to be the ones that own the market.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an excellent point, something, that I, spend a lot of my time doing, researching and learning how to, change and keep up with the marketplace, and something that you have done very well, obviously.
Yeah, and the second part of that is invest in yourself and believe in yourself. I'll give you an example. If we were talking RIO Genesis, and we could talk about a sales training course, we could talk about Mike Ferry as a coach, or Brian Buffetti as a coach, or Course on Coaching, any of those, invest in yourself.
Right.
If an agent doesn't believe that they're worth spending a couple $100 a month investing in themselves and their own career, no one else is going to believe in them either, including a buyer or a listing, or someone to list their house.
Absolutely, absolutely. Great closing point there from... Great closing point there from Dr. Michael Krein, CEO of RIO Software Solutions and president of the National RIO Brokers Association. Michael, thank you very much for coming on the show today. It was a lot of great information.
Thank you for having me, Christine. Pleasure. Hope to meet you in person someday.
Absolutely.
If you're just tuning in, you've been listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. And again, you'll find my show on every Mondays at noon. So please tune in as my show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. You can get me off air, my cell phone, 813-760-8516. And if you text the word value to that number, I offer a free home valuation to all of my listeners. Again, text value to 813-760-8516. And also you can follow up with me through my contact form at my website, tampabayradio.com. Thanks for listening to the show, and you'll see me back here again next Monday at noon. Have a great, productive week, everybody.
The opinions, viewpoints, and promises made during the preceding program are not those of WHNZ